Can I steal you for a minute?
Steal you for a minute?
Can I steal you for a minute?
Welcome to Can I Steal You for a Minute, the reality dating recap podcast. My name is Indra Raj.
And I'm Mary Bianco.
And it's cozy.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in my hoodie and you're in your sweater.
And my
It's
Rory Gilmore sweater.
We've had, I love it. Yes.
Except for it's
What's cozier than the Gilmore Girls?
Nothing. I'm on my rewatch in my time that I'm not watching dating TV shows.
Amazing. Colorado and Boulder have had the most incredible weather lately.
Ugh.
I mean, I guess it depends who you ask, but we've basically had an extended summer. It's been so warm and sunny, and I mean, it's always sunny, but warm, haven't needed my jackets really type situation. And then in the last couple of days, the temperature has dropped. It's raining or fog or something. So I'm starting to get into the fall now.
Yeah.
Which is cozy. I'm into it.
It's just warm. If you ask me, the best weather is happening right now in New York. It's been 50s in the morning and then 60 later in the day. So my husband and I take a walk every morning and we just get to see the leaves change. It's just the best time in New York. And it was our 1 year anniversary on Monday. So I just want to give Ethan a quick shout out that we've been married for a whole year and it went very fast. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, two things. I love that you and Ethan take a walk together every morning.
Yep. Yeah.
Couple goals. That is the cutest thing. You guys don't even have a pet, right?
No, it's literally just us watching everyone else with their dogs and kids out and we're just walking.
You're we're just living our best life, enjoying our daily romantic walk.
We're mostly both complaining about work, but the setting is romantic.
Whatever it is, it is. I'm obsessed with that. Also, we did not mention this in our last episode, but I think it's worth celebrating.
Yeah.
This is our 51st episode.
Yay!
So we have officially cleared 50 episodes of this podcast.
Yeah.
Which seems like a lot considering we started in January.
Yeah. A lot of the double episodes have caught up to us because I was oh, we're at almost a year. But then we've done a lot of episodes where it was twice in a week. So
we've done a lot. So thanks to everyone who listens.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
We love you.
Yeah,
thanks
we really
for,
do.
Caring about this podcast. I guess now is as good as time as any to ask you to just go on your podcast player and hit 5 stars. If you want to leave a review, great.
Yeah.
Someone, we have 2 reviews, and one of them is about how I say too much.
I don't know how you're certain it's you though, because I say a lot. So it could be it's probably both of us.
I know it's me. I know in my soul, and I'm okay with it. This is something I've come to terms with. I mean, I just said I can't. It's a part of who I am.
Yeah.
I think the word was used a lot in my millennial generational time. And it's just a part, especially when I'm thinking, I say even more.
Of course.
And I think a lot on this podcast.
Yeah. You're giving us your thoughts. I think complaining about people saying is very boring and misogynistic. I know that because it is a pattern in which women talk.
It is.
And to be so upset about it when it's a way that women are thinking and talking through things and making comparisons all the time. So, yeah, I think we welcome reviews because it means people are listening. And I actually we did appreciate that this was not someone that we knew who just found us unlistenable, but that means we're getting on people's feeds.
We always say once people start giving you bad press, it means you're doing something right.
Yeah. So, I mean, our memes that have the mean comments on them that people are basically saying that this show doesn't know what they're talking about have thousands of likes. So speaking of likes. Yeah.
Speaking of likes. So I'm not going to stop.
No.
I'm going to maybe be a little bit more self-conscious about it, but I don't know. Anyway, thanks for being here.
Yeah,
thanks for
everyone.
Putting up with my my vocal tics.
Everyone that I talk to in my life that I know is always complimenting your presence on mic. So I
Oh,
just
that's
want to put that out there to you that everyone basically tells me that they can tell that I haven't been on a radio show, but they can tell that you have. So that's the feedback I'm getting from my community. So
that is really kind.
yeah.
It is kind of like my job in real life that I've been cultivating for a little while. And I'm
Yeah.
not great at it still, but I'm glad that I never feel like I'm doing better at it ever. So whatever. And
No.
the podcast experience is so different also
Mhm.
from like radio.
Mhm.
So it's interesting. I don't know.
Well, we're so conversational on here that I think
Right.
you guys listening are catching me and Indra talking as we talk. Like neither
Yeah.
of us are doing any kind of radio anchor voice, we're just
No.
kind of shooting the shit. So
Yeah.
that's what comes with it.
Definitely. I'm not trying to no. This is a conversation and you get to
Yeah,
listen to it. So thanks
exactly.
for being
Yeah,
there.
thank you for
51
being.
episodes.
Yay.
Woo!
Yay.
Okay, so first we're going to start with some news out there about Hannah from Love Island USA.
Yeah.
Which unfortunate news.
Yeah.
We had her on the pod actually, and yeah. Anyway, so we'll talk about that. Mary has
Mhm.
the deets, and then we'll do Joan's latest episode of The Bachelorette, and then we'll do the latest 2 episodes of Love Is Blind,
Mhm.
season 7 DC. So let's start with Hannah.
Yeah. I mean, this is very disappointing because Hannah seemed like a real sweetheart on her season, and when we talked to her,
Yes.
Hannah basically got arrested at a Gracie Abrams concert, which if you listen to Gracie Abrams is just beyond confusing. But I guess she was belligerently drunk. And I'm saying the race because it's very crucial here. A black woman, a police officer,
Mhm.
tried to restrain her in some way while she was drunk and she was being belligerent and violent. And Hannah basically verbally and physically assaulted this police officer, saying things like, you black bitches hate us skinny white girls because we'll take your men.
Oh.
Like just kept using the word black women as like a slur, basically. It's all about in the tone in which you say things. And she was like, you know,
Whoa.
I can't wait to kill you and your sister. Like, yeah,
What?
yeah, just basically making race-based threats at this woman.
That is so disappointing.
So disappointing. And I should look up her name. I love her TikToks. I'll find her name. Maybe we'll put it in the comments. She basically and she's a black creator, and she basically made a good comment where she was like, it's always the ones who are using AAV and
What is that?
African American vernacular, and
Yes.
it's
I was
always
just gonna say that.
yeah, it's always women using that
Yes.
slang who have gotten body procedures to better simulate a black woman's body, who
Right.
have the 20-inch hair extension in, who do all of these things to basically copy the trends that black women are forever setting in our society. Like if you look at a main trend in
Right.
fashion, in makeup, 99% of the time it was started by black women. And Hannah
Right.
is a recipient of that. And her entire look is based off of black women.
Right.
And so for her to speak so disparagingly against that community that she's borrowing from all the time
Right.
is so
Yeah.
beyond disappointing. PPG has unfollowed her. Kaylor, Liv, all the boys, everybody from her season, except for Andrea, have unfollowed her. And Andrea has
Oh.
come out defending her, basically, which
What is she defending? I mean, that's abhorrent behavior.
she was drunk, blah, blah, blah. I've been drunk many a time in my life. I've never hit anybody. I've never
No.
called anybody any racial slurs. Alcohol doesn't get to be an excuse.
No. Like it really mm-mm. No,
Mm-mm.
you don't have to say shit like that when you're belligerent.
Especially if the next sentence is, I'm sorry I was so drunk. The next sentence needs to be, I'm checking into rehab. Because if you are
Right.
like that and you are not getting sober, then you're just going to do it again.
Right. Like that's unacceptable on like a lot of levels.
Yeah.
Oh man, that sucks. I'm
Yeah.
really yeah. Okay. Well, so that's important I think for people to know.
Yeah. And just a post-dated trigger warning that there is racism in the story, but I think most people listening kind of knew that it was
Right.
headed
It's been
there.
circulating.
Yeah.
I mean, Love Island USA people, like I see like Leah's posts.
Yeah.
And she's always looking incredible.
Fire. Yeah.
I haven't seen Miguel in them as much recently.
Well, he went home for a bit and then they're
Oh,
back together now.
okay.
They're very cute together. Like they really do. Like they really love each other. I know.
Will they televise their
I
marriage?
don't know. I like all three. The big three are all with their men still. Like Kenny and Janae are going strong. Cordell is moving
Oh,
closer to where Serena lives. Not
oh
in
my
together, but
God.
moving closer to her.
I saw someone with Cordell recently, and it was, like, so amazing. I almost sent you the post because I was like, "I just love this so much," and
Mhm.
I didn't for some reason, and now I can't remember what it was, so whatever. Anytime I see Cordell, I'm just, like, so happy.
He just lights up when he talks about her. It's like the cutest thing in the world. Like he just
Oh,
can't believe that he's with her. And like that's how all men should feel.
and I love picturing him asleep at the
I
reunion.
know.
What a moment.
What an angel. What a little angel.
Okay, so then let's talk about Joan.
Yep.
And this recent episode, which might as well have been called promotional material for Mark as our next Golden Bachelor.
It has to happen. Like they must be announcing it.
Has Bachelor Data done a screen time data dump on the men?
Let me
Because I
check.
know she does that sometimes in
Yeah.
people's seasons. Like she'll show the contestants in terms of how much screen time they've gotten. And sometimes she'll put it against like how much screen time even the lead has gotten. Like I
Yeah.
know she did that in Jen's season.
She
And
hasn't done Golden Bachelorette.
maybe we should DM her and
Yeah.
request that
I would love
because
to know.
I feel like Mark, it wasn't just this episode. Like
No.
he has been heavily featured this entire season.
And
And I'm
this
not mad at it.
no, I'm not mad at all. That man, we
He's
all know
so
how I feel about
hot.
that man.
I think I'm like really attracted to him.
Oh, deeply,
I mean,
like the way that he was this week was just like so special. This was his first one-on-one and we see him all the time. Like he
I
has talking
know.
heads constantly. He's like, I mean, I just love him. Like I just think he's such a solid guy. Yeah,
Can
yeah.
can we talk about let's just talk about him
Yeah.
and like what we think happened here with Joan.
Yeah.
Maybe even leading into this, like I think she knew he wasn't the one
Mhm.
and like was maybe testing it out, but I think there are a couple ways you could read their date. Like
Yeah.
one is like, "Oh, Mark is boring."
Mhm.
And the other is like, "Oh, Mark is just a different person than Joan."
Yeah, I read it as, like, Mark is a bit shy. Like, I think he
Yeah.
is still shy with women because he's very outgoing and open with the men. Like, they
Yeah.
open this date basically oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Mark was talking about how Kelsey sees butterflies as her mom, and
Yes.
how when she was looking for answers with Joey, she saw butterflies and she knew that it was okay. Mark was telling the story about how his wife Denise would hold her hand out with food and hummingbirds would just come and land and eat out of her hand because she was like such a calm presence that birds weren't like so comfortable with her.
And the way he told that story, sorry, I just have to
No,
pause
so
there.
amazing.
And I feel like I wanna give the, like, videographers some
I
credit
know. It
here.
was
The way
beautiful.
they were, like, showing his
I
hands,
know.
it was I was, like, taking pictures in my mind, like, trying to be like, "I think I'm in love with Mark's hands," like, "I don't know what's going on
It
here."
was beautiful. Like, it was
It
just
was
like, yeah,
beautiful.
just like the tender way that he still talks about his wife, like keeping space for her even after she's been gone for 6 years. So
Yes.
many of these other men could never. And
Could never.
and he said, I saw a hummingbird this morning and I had been so insecure about my journey so far. And it just told me that like things are going to be okay. And that was just so beautiful because he clearly needed comfort. And he felt
Yeah.
so comfortable telling the men that. And they were so receptive to the story. They were just like,
So receptive
they were like, oh,
and
how wonderful she's here with us. Like,
I know. And he you could literally see and hear and feel the weight
yeah.
coming off of him, like and, like, maybe that's just it. He just hasn't actually let go until this kinda late stage,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what the point of being on this season was for him,
Yeah.
maybe.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he is a little shy,
Mhm.
I think he's not used to dating women.
No.
I mean this with a lot of love and respect because I don't think enough people are like this. I think he's slow. Like,
Yeah.
I think he moves slowly. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think he's slow like stupid. I think
No.
he's slow, like he's deliberate.
Mhm.
He takes time, he breathes. He's, like that moment they show them on the boat, like sipping the champagne and no one's saying anything.
Yeah.
I actually think that was soon after they got on the boat and
Yeah.
they had just sat down for like 3 minutes before someone was coming to tell them about what was going on. Like, they made it look like, "Oh, these 2 have nothing to talk about." I'm like, "I don't think that's what's going on here."
No, I think Mark was just, like, taking it in. Like,
Right.
and Joan is not slow. Like, oh, I
No.
told you I was working on my Joan impression. Joan
Ah! Okay, are we doing it? I can't wait.
it's not very good. So
I don't care.
it's more about cadence. So, like,
Okay.
Mark talks very slowly and intentionally, and Joan is like, "And, yeah, I think I could possibly see a future with Chock, and I'm here with Chock, and I'm here to investigate my relationship with Chock, and I can see something with Chock." And it's, like, so, like, rushed and layered and, like
Okay, if you're not watching this on YouTube, please go to YouTube right now, and because it's not like, that was,
it's the frown
perfect,
too.
Mary,
Yeah.
like, the cadence and everything, but it's even better if you can see her movements. Like, you have it. You have such a gift, Mary. I
Thank
love
you.
it. It's so true, though, like, she can't deal with silence.
No, and
She can't deal with a moment of silence, and, like, I can relate to that. I'm kinda like that too,
mhm.
and but when with people I'm intimate with, like my partner,
Yeah.
I actually value silence.
Mhm.
Like, I need that because I
Yeah.
think sometimes I'm just putting it on all the time in other contexts of my life.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have space to not be like that, and I think Joan wants that frenetic energy, like, all
Mhm.
the time.
Yeah, I think because I think she just was used to chaos, and then, like,
Right.
her kids got older, and, like, then her
Yep.
husband was gone, and I think it's been very quiet, and so I think she just wants everything to be filled with noise, and there are guys there that are talkers, like, even Kelsey and Joey, they
Right.
were not super talkative, like, both
Yep.
of them in their conversations were, like, very intentional, and I think that comes from for Kelsey, it comes from her dad, where
Yep.
he's always thinking before he speaks. He wants to make sure he takes everything in. He
Yes.
honors everything that's being said, and then he can, like, talk about it. Yeah.
He's totally just that, like, watching their conversation when they actually start talking about, losing their partners and what that was like and processing it. It was like I felt like Mark was just, like, holding space, and this is
Yeah.
just, like, corny phrase, but really that's, I think, what he was
Yeah.
doing for Joan when she's talking about the hardship she's going through, and I think what she wants is someone who's gonna, like, not just, like, hold it, but also, like, respond and
Yeah.
say things and, like, it's like watching this, it's like kind of, this thread that I've been picking up on for myself with Joan throughout this season is that, like, she's just always talking about herself and
Yeah.
whatever, and, like, I think there's an element of, like, annoyingness in that, but I think there's also probably most of it is just her, like, wanting to fill the empty space. And
Yeah.
wanting there to be something to say, and when you don't always know how to respond, sometimes the easiest thing to do is just talk about your own experience. And that's
Yeah.
fine. That's who she is, and that's what she wants.
Yeah, that's, like, what she's going for, and I think for people like Mark, it's like, yes, his wife died 6 years ago, but he still had young children at home. So it's
Yeah,
kind of like the chaos was still with him, like, Joan and her husband were already empty nesters when he died, and so
right. Very
it
different.
had gotten very quiet already, and then I
Yes.
think just the silence for her is literally traumatizing. Like, I think
Yes.
it's too much for her to handle right now, and I think there are other guys who are better suited to that, like, I think
Yeah.
Chalk loves to fill the energy. I think Keith is actually, like, filling
I
the energy a
know.
lot. Yeah.
I know. Just one more thing about Joan and Mark. So when she did let him down, let
Ugh.
him know why she was letting him go, what she said, and I'm curious to hear what you think about what she said. She said, "I didn't hear a lot of me in what you were saying. And I think what she was trying to say was like, it was just about your wife and it wasn't about me. And I was like, I guess I can see where Joan's coming from. But again, I feel like Mark really was supporting her in his own way in that moment. And she wasn't quite, it wasn't jiving. That type of thing wasn't really working.
I kind of took something different from that. I thought when she said, like, when you were talking about it, I didn't like hear a lot of me in that, aka I don't see myself in your picture of 5 years from now.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of took it like, because he said basically like, I envision my life flourishing in the next 5 years. Like, I think that this has just kickstarted everything for me next. And I think she was kind of like, when he describes his life in 5 years, I don't see me there with him.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That.
But I can see it both ways, obviously. Like, I think.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing to say.
It was an interesting phrase. Yeah.
And he looked kind of hurt by it.
Yeah, I think he was just taken back by it.
He wasn't expecting any of it.
No, because for him, he's like, I finally opened up. Like, we're gonna hit this next stage. And I think he didn't. I think because he's so wrapped up in the friendship, I don't think he realized how close some of these guys actually got with Joan. Like, I don't think he really clocked that. Like, oh, some of them like love her already. Like,
Right. Well, and I think that, like, you know, I'm sure Mark watching this back is just like, oh yeah, like this is not it for me. Like, they are not right for each other. Like, no part of me was sad that Mark went home because I think he should be with Joan.
No, it was just, I want him on our screens and I hope that he's our bachelor because I really will miss him. But
I mean, the only person I could say that could rival him is Charles L.
Yeah.
I would be obsessed with a season that feature Charles.
Of course. Of course. But I think like Mark is more romantic seeming. Like, I think Charles is like still in the phase where he wants to have fun and be like goofy guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any like romance from him like he never kissed Joan. So I don't know like.
No. I mean, Charles is perfect for the beach.
Yes, 100%.
He could be the king of that fucking beach.
Oh, 100%. Charles and Sandra, honestly.
Oh my God. Stop.
Wouldn't that be so funny?
That is like a dream come true.
She would just love to corrupt someone who's like innocent, like Charles. And I'm doing that in quotes for people just listening.
Yeah. Oh, Charles is not innocent.
No,
we
Charles
know that.
is in on the joke.
Yeah.
But like.
Charles, oh my God. If they don't do a Golden Bachelor in Paradise, it's such a missed opportunity. Like, have you heard anything? Or are we still just like speculating?
We're still speculating,
here?
But like Susan and Kathy both got chin lifts or some kind of plastic surgery together this week. And we're laughing because it's so iconic. Like,
it's so iconic. It's incredible.
Obsessed. Like, they got a few different procedures done each. At one point, like, Kathy's face was swollen up like 12 sizes. I felt so bad for her. Susan got a breast reduction, among other things.
Really?
So, like, the ladies are preparing for something. Like,
right. They're not just doing that for fun.
No, they both looked great, but like, I think they're preparing for something.
I love that they're doing it together. I don't know.
I mean,
so charming.
It's like what Charles said. It's like, I found a different kind of love in this process. Like, when you're older, I feel like any kind of companionship is so nice. And that's like what they've found in each other is like true companionship.
Truly. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, farewell, Mark.
When she said, keep smiling, Mark, you have a beautiful smile, I was like, cosign, Joan. Cosign.
I know. Wait. Did she say that or did Pascal say
that? Oh, no,
that?
Pascal said that.
I was like, Pascal's definitely in love with Mark. Like,
oh, Pascal was like, and he's my best friend. I'm so sad he's going. I'm like, Pascal is just losing friends left and right. He's so upset. Like,
I know. Also, like, how the hell is Pascal going to hometowns?
I don't know. I feel like he was a last minute decision. And so like,
it's between Chock and Guy.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan's there because she thinks Jordan's hot and they had fun together on that one-on-one.
Right.
I think it would have been Jonathan if Jonathan's kids were older. I think Joan is like, I've already raised an entire family. Right. I'm not signing up. His daughter is like 10.
Yeah,
like,
that's a lot of years of a child in the house, full on
Full on.
activities, the
Like,
whole 9
she's
yards.
gonna hit puberty in the house, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
it's that is a tough time for girls, and I think when you've already raised your own family, it's kind of like, eh, Jonathan is so far behind
Right.
age-wise for their kids that I think it just wasn't, and I don't think she's gonna meet young kids in this process, so I
No.
think the Pascal spot was for Jonathan, and then she saw the picture of the kids, and she kind of was like, "I can't do
Eh.
this." Yeah.
Yeah, I am interested to see Pascal's hometown. It'll be, I'm sure, like, full of delight.
Yeah. I mean, he's got kids too, so
Yeah,
they'll be
they've
there.
shown his son a lot.
Yeah.
His son's a cutie.
So handsome.
Yeah, so that'll be cool to learn more. I'm interested to learn more about Jordan. I just don't think he's a contender at all.
No, he's just leagues behind where Guy and Chalk are at. And especially Chalk. Like your meme this week was so great about like they're just cut like literally they're on a bowling date. And
And they're just, like, cuddling. Okay, anytime a woman, like, puts her feet up like that on the b like, she looked so comfortable. It was
oh,
almost like, "Joan, girl,
yeah.
like, you gotta pretend a little bit better to not be only into one guy."
Yeah, like Joan, when Chalk gets up to bowl, that's a very natural time for you to move over to the other side and talk
Yeah,
to one of the other
talks
guys.
yes.
She sat there and waited for Chalk's turn to end for him to come back. Like
It was like they were all on just hanging around on
I know.
their date.
It's kind of like a bowling date is perfect because everybody has to get up and it's like a
Right.
natural like
Yeah.
shift.
Yes.
But like Joan went right back to Chalk every time and I can't really blame her. Like they really
Yeah.
like her and Chalk are like boyfriend and girlfriend.
They just click,
Mhm. Mhm.
like, the ways that Mark was kind of just not what she was looking for, Chalk is, like,
Yeah.
he's very like, I bet Jones, one of her main love languages is words of affirmation. I feel like she just needs someone to talk her through things, and Chalk just he doesn't talk too much, but he talks.
He
He
says
expresses himself, he says how he's feeling. He's very open about it, which honestly gets you far on these shows because you have such limited time.
yeah, that's all you really want to offer people is that you just let them know where you're at, and
Right.
I think he really does that.
Right.
Yeah, it's just
I want them to be together.
me too. I think they're really good together. I don't think
Yeah.
they'd like gun it to get married. Like I think they would take their time like normal people.
And just, like, enjoy life and, like, go to Disney World
Yeah.
and
Just travel around and, like, I just think it
Yes.
is them because Chalk does offer a lot of assurance, like, that's kind of where I when she talks about Chalk, she really gets into her, like, nodding and, like,
Yep.
self-soothing behavior almost, yeah. She's just like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah."
I mean, I just cringe watching Guy now, knowing what we know. Like, if you
Yeah,
didn't listen to our episode last week, go back and listen because we talk through all of the allegations that have been made against him. And, the short version is that he had some really disturbing behavior when his last marriage dissolved.
yeah,
And I'm almost like nervous to see his hometown. I just like,
because 'cause we're gonna
who are
see
we
his
going to
kids.
meet?
Yeah, we're gonna see his children, and we're just gonna be wondering, like we said last week, like, how much do they know at this point when they agreed to be on the show
Right.
with him, and I just I don't know, it is uncomfortable because they haven't addressed it because
Right.
they can't really edit him out. Like, he is a crucial part to the show, and I think
Yeah.
that at the ending, it's gonna be him and Chalk.
It's gonna be like 100% it's those 2. I have no doubt in my mind. I think
N
Pascal will go home next week.
Yeah,
I think she'll do her fantasy suites, which we know there's not gonna be any
there's
sex
no
because there's
bed.
no bed.
Yeah,
So it'll
which, like,
be
there's a
those 3, and
couch,
then Jordan's out,
yeah, Jordan's out, yeah.
and then, the final 2, and it's just my only hope is, like, she doesn't choose Guy because that would be really fucking terrible.
It also would just be all that stuff aside, if I'm one of the other guys and I watch Chock and Joan's story, I'm kind of like rooting for Chock and Joan because it's
Right.
like he came back after his mom died and is like
Yeah.
pushed through being there for her. They're so cuddly. They're openly talking about the future. Like on the
Yeah.
bowling date, she basically said to Chalk, "I'm meeting your family." She was like, "I
Right.
really can see a life with you. Like I'm so
Yes.
excited about what the future holds for us."
Oh, and
So
he's like, yeah, it's gonna be
you,
like this, and this is what we're
he's-
gonna do. Like
yeah,
he's not even like saying if at all.
no, and that's been the key. Like, and we talked about the boyfriend girlfriend effect. Like, that's what Chalk is delivering here, where he
Right.
came into dating Joan as her boyfriend, and that's what Kelsey
Right.
did on Joey's season, where she was like, "I'm just going to talk about the future because he's my boyfriend and we have a future together," and that makes the
Right.
lead feel so good.
Right. And they made a point to show this episode, Chalk saying in his little ITM, like, I love these guys and I'm happy for them when they get one-on-ones, but am I happy to see her going on dates with other men? Like, absolutely not. Like,
He's not
I
going to
feel like it
happen.
was
Should be
very
me in that helicopter.
calculated.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
When they're in the pool, he's like, "Absolutely not. Should be me in that helicopter."
Yeah.
Like, he's just like
Yeah, he's
so
like,
not
"This
into
fucking
it.
sucks." And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, he was very respectful about it, but he was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not happy to see her dating other
Yeah.
men. Like, don't are you I actually am in love with this woman. Like, come
Yeah.
on."
And it's like Keith
Um,
didn't end up mattering anyway, unfortunately for Keith,
oh,
because that was a great date.
yeah, like, that was a fun ass date.
Yeah.
Like, going in a helicopter, landing at a winery, like,
Amazing.
it's just, they don't give that date to just anyone. It was designed, I think, to maximize a romantic experience if there was gonna be one,
Yeah.
and it I yeah, I think it didn't I don't know what it was though, because I feel like Keith and her do have good rapport. I was surprised when he was sent
Yeah.
home.
I was very surprised too. I just feel like it's guys who express something serious that they have going on that she doesn't know 100% that it's going to be. So I just think it's like cutting her losses that she's not hurting anybody's feelings because
Right.
Keith's daughters have been through a lot. They have not
Yep.
spoken to their mom in 12 years, he said. And
Yeah, it
they're
was,
also
over a decade.
over a decade, and they're also kind of young, and so I think that Joan didn't say this out loud, but I think for people with young children or
Mhm.
younger children, I think his daughters are in their teens and 20s, I think she just wanted to be very cautious about not involving kids, and
Right.
I have respect that because 'cause I'll never forget Ben H's hometowns, and he went and met Amanda Stanton's daughters, and then instead of breaking up with her at the hometown, had her fly back to the mansion and then broke up with her then. And then just was
Yeah.
so thoughtless and careless. So,
Ugh, God,
yeah,
I'd forgotten about that, but
I know.
yeah. Yeah, like, definitely. It's just a different phase of life, like, the amount that you're involving people in these golden shows, like, you just have to think through that, so,
Mhm.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, the hometowns will be interesting just because it's, like, interesting to see
Yeah.
these men's lives, like, when they're
Can't wait
in
to see
their
their
60s
houses.
and, like, what is their family like? Like, what
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and, we won't get to see Kelsey and Joey, but that's okay. We see them on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. And there they are.
There they are. Anything else about that? I think that's it.
I think that's pretty much it. 3 episodes left, I guess. We have hometowns,
Right.
Men Tell All, and then finale.
Yep.
Can't
Yep.
wait for Men Tell All.
Oh my god. If they don't give Charles, like, 30 minutes in the hot seat.
Here's what the hot seats have to be: Mark announcing Golden Bachelor,
Yeah,
Charles, Gary,
Gary.
probably Jonathan, because of the whole "you
Yeah.
are seen, you are worthy" kind of thing.
Right, right, right.
Um,
Do you
and then,
think they'll
like,
address, like,
they might say Gil was not invited to be here tonight, but I
right,
don't know if
or
they would say
he's
anything
definitely not
else.
gonna he's not gonna be there for sure,
That would be
that's for sure.
wild. That would
Yeah,
be
no, he
wild.
won't be there. Okay, so let's talk about Love Is Blind. Like, I don't know if these episodes were I don't know what they were.
Where did
It
they find
was
these evil ass men? Like, where did they find them?
Okay, wait, let's do couple by couple.
Okay.
Do we have to start with Marissa and Ramses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck you, Ramses. You are a bad person. You are the ultimate manipulator. Your fiance is on her period, and it sounds like maybe
Yes.
anemic on her period. She is in law school.
Yes.
As someone who went to law school, the last thing on my
Yes.
mind was sex because you are so stressed all the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Why she decided to do this in law school, Marissa, honey, what are you doing? Like, you already have too
Yeah.
much going on.
Right.
She doesn't feel well. She's driven 2 hours home. She's planning
Yep.
the wedding. He hasn't done a thing to plan the wedding. He still wanted sex and affection while she didn't feel well. And for him, that's like the ultimate betrayal is that she wouldn't be affectionate with him. And if there are times, and she basically asks him, if I'm
Right.
postpartum or really, really pregnant and we can't have sex, I'm worried you're going to cheat on me. And he goes, that's valid. What the fuck? Like,
I
what
know, he
actually
didn't
is
even,
wrong
like,
with you?
actually respond to it.
No. He didn't say, "No, that would
Like,
never happen." Like, affection and intimacy are not the most important parts of a relationship, and I now get why you got divorced, and I can't believe you haven't learned that lesson.
okay, so, yes. Like, first of all, yes, everything you just
Sorry.
said, I
I'm
100%
so
agree
pissed.
with.
Yeah.
She's it's just like, Ramses, what the fuck? If you were feeling the same way she was and she was pressuring you into sex, let me tell you, you would not be okay with it. Like,
No.
it's not, and it's like he's like, "Oh, is this how it's always gonna be? Like, intimacy is important to me." It's like, "Bro,
Be
you can't."
intimate with
It's a
yourself, dude. Like,
also, and it's like this plays into this thing about him that drives me nuts, which we talked about a lot in our last episode. Is like this feigned I'm so evolved, I'm
mhm.
such a supportive man, like I do the things that other men can't do in relationships. It's like, no, dude, you're just as bad as the rest of them, if not worse. If this
Yeah.
is what's going on, like your insistence to have what you need as a man in this relationship when it comes to sex, and that's just one thing, like with
Yeah.
the condoms thing, with your partner like feeling unwell, being stressed and not wanting to be intimate for it sounds like maybe a day or two.
1 day.
It is just it's like it's immature,
Yeah.
it's embarrassing, it's
He's
totally
awful.
misogynistic.
100%. And this is like this brand of man that happens a lot in specifically Brooklyn, where it's like this like liberal presenting man. He's going to the protests and they're all about women's rights until it infringes on their own comfort and their own experience of what they want. And it's like,
Right.
that's not actual like allyship and partnership. Like, why do you want to have sex with someone who's uncomfortable? Like, why do you want to have her suffer
Right.
through it or not be into it because you need what you need? Like, I you're gonna have to self-soothe, babe. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That, like, it has to be every day or you're gonna get divorced? Like, there are
Right.
stretches, I'm sure, in the times that she's talking about
Mhm.
where, like, you have other things that are more important than sex going on in your mind,
Yeah.
and you're exhausted, and it's the last thing on your mind, and guess what, Ramses? You can still love each other. Like, I don't understand this.
Right. I mean, as someone who's had 2 children
Mhm.
and, like, has been very pregnant,
Yeah.
and, like, some women love having sex when they're pregnant, some people don't. So
Yeah.
and you just don't know how that's gonna be, and Marissa's bringing this up with him, and,
Yeah.
like, literally, you're not allowed to. I mean, people can do whatever they want, but, like, medically, it is not recommended, like, highly not recommended to
Yeah.
have sex for 6 weeks after you've given birth.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually unsafe for the woman, it can cause harm, it can be like you're healing from fucking birthing a child out of your
Yeah.
uterus. It's a very intense process and you need to heal. Can you imagine him during that period? Like,
No.
he's gonna be a fucking nightmare, not on top of you've just turned your life upside down because you have a
Yeah.
child. The
Yeah.
the hormonal changes that a woman goes through throughout pregnancy and in that postpartum period for up to 2 years after giving birth is
Mhm.
wild.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just you have to, like, and the fact that he hasn't really clearly ever thought about this or even gives a shit about it for his partner is so fucked up. I'm just
Yeah.
like And he's sitting there, on the boat later on, like, oh, yeah, babe, you have been doing more. And like, I need to do more. And like, I've heard what you said. Like, I hear you, babe. Like, in another context, I would have been like, wow, this guy is like really listening to her. And he did take what she was saying and he is going to change. I don't believe that with this dude at all.
No. I think that he just wants to say the right thing, but as you're
Right.
saying, like, he hasn't looked into what actually being, like, an intentional partner of
Yes.
a person who's gonna give birth and goes through hormonal changes every month, like, he has
Yeah.
not thought about what that actually looks like, and if I had to
Yeah.
guess, his ex-wife had a very similar experience where, like,
Yep.
men have no idea what it feels like that just for no reason, we will just feel like absolute garbage. My
Yeah.
brain every month will tell me I'm the ugliest person in the entire world, that everyone hates
Yeah.
me, that I'm going to get fired, that blah, blah is happening. And then the next day, literally, because
Yeah.
it feels like someone is ripping my uterus out from the inside. So,
Right.
and I'm bloated, I'm uncomfortable, I don't fit into my clothes, and I'm bleeding. So, like, please, the last thing on my mind is having sex with you. I can barely
Yeah.
remember to do my fucking job. And yeah, I still have to go to work and law school while this is happening to
Yes.
me. And this is literally feminism. I don't even want to call it 101. This is like so before that. This is like
Yeah.
basic human anatomy that he has not addressed because it's not convenient to him.
Yeah. It's like, Ramses,
What the
what was
fuck?
going on in your last marriage? Like,
This.
was she not having a period? Like, was she not having, like,
She must have
why
been on
have you
birth
never
control.
considered this before? It's
No
like
idea.
the first time he's noticing it, like he's a 15-year-old boy. Like,
Ugh,
he's so fucking immature.
he's awful.
Ugh.
And Marissa, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. You really got to get a grip. This is not the marriage
Right.
for you. Like,
No.
they drop us in on this fight. We have no idea what the fight's about.
Right. So, yeah,
And
I'm not crazy. Like,
no,
we have no
no,
clue what they were actually having an issue around.
no. Netflix, stop dropping us off in the middle of a fight. This is like the 6th time you've done this season and like the
Right.
4th time this episode. So, like, they just drop us in the middle of a fight and never explain what the fight is about. We hear her flushing the toilet for some unknown reason, and then she comes out
Right.
and she's clearly been crying all night. He's been crying. He's thinking about calling it off. She's begging him to stay. We have no idea what it's about.
None. It could be anything. And it's just like, I mean, I think what's going to happen is they're going to break up before the
I
weddings.
really hope so because, like, Marissa,
Yeah.
do not marry this man. He doesn't care if you're uncomfortable. He will never make
No.
space for anything you're feeling. It's going to be the Ramses show forever.
No, he's very into himself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just want to call this out because at some point in our DMs, like, I don't know if you noticed, I DM'd him and I was like, in a frenzy, I was like, "Are you West Indian?"
Yeah.
And I don't think he ever wrote back. And then I was like, "Oh shit, I was probably wrong. I shouldn't have said that." But they did
Yeah,
acknowledge
you
that
were
he is
right.
Guyanese in this
Yep.
episode and he is half West Indian.
Yep.
And I feel better about it now.
I'm sorry that that's your
Uh,
representation this season, but I guess I'm glad there is someone.
I know. I was like, Prashad is like 100% a South Asian last name. Like, for those of you who don't know, there's a large West Indian population in Guyana, and they
Mhm.
are ethnically South Asian, Indian mostly. So there's a lot of like last names that are traded
Mhm.
between the two. So anyway, I just wanted to like mention that because yeah. So anyway, I mean that's a tough situation. I like Marissa a lot. And I think she
Yeah.
deserves so much more than this man. Like, she's a really great communicator.
Mhm.
And I think Ramses feigns as a really great communicator when really he just says what he thinks he's supposed to say and then doesn't actually follow through with it. So she needs a guy who can say the right thing and follow through with it.
Yeah.
It was like cute when she met Bodhi and like, I guess she got friend vibes and that's totally
Yeah.
fair.
And that's fine. Yeah.
I also just want to like call back a little bit. I don't know if we talked about it on the pod, but like Marissa definitely chose Ramses because of his like star chart. Do you remember
Oh,
that?
yeah. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
found out he was a Cancer Leo and she was like, "Okay, it's him."
It's done. It's done. It's like,
Like
maybe like not.
Astrological stuff, wherever you're at with it. Maybe you're totally in, maybe you're totally out, whatever. Like, please don't make very important life decisions solely based on someone's chart. Just
No,
don't do it. It
do
doesn't
do
matter what
not.
you believe.
Do not. I want to know what his was. Ramses,
It was Cancer, Cancer, Leo, I
was
think.
it?
I wanna
Cancer?
say that's stuck in my head. I don't actually even know what that means.
No, I bet. Ethan's a Cancer. It's very like highly emotional, but then paired with Leo is very ego forward. So
Yeah.
it is like my emotions matter more than anyone else's. So that would make a lot of sense.
Right, right. And I don't know, whatever her style I remember her saying something about, like, how it just, like, really meshed with her vibe or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
she's like yeah, that was, like I definitely remember being like, "Ooh, Marissa, like, literally slow down."
Yeah.
Like,
He's also
they
35 years
rushed
old.
into things. What?
He's 35.
Is he?
He's too old for these like stupid I'm a dumb man games. They all are really.
Agreed.
That's another couple that I have to talk about, but they're too old
Okay.
for these. Yeah.
Okay, so next,
I guess Tim
we're
and
talking
Alex because they broke up.
yes. Okay. Oh my god, I, like w okay, you go. I don't know what to say.
I I I am looking back on Tim and I'm actually
Yeah,
quite weirded out. I think that in the pods I thought it was sweet that he was like I want to give my parents another daughter because they
right,
lost both their daughters, and I'm trying to be, like, very empathetic to that loss. I can't even imagine what that feels like.
right.
I think that he did not want a wife out of this process. I think he wanted a sister, and the way that he was so quickly disappointed in her and dismissive of her, and
Yes.
she said, "We talked about how I'm gonna be a vessel for them." And I just think this whole family needs to really rethink what a daughter-in-law is because it's not your child
Yeah.
reborn. And I think that that's what all
No.
3 of them were kind of trying to do.
Right.
And Alex already has a lot of pressure on her
Right.
with sick parents and being the oldest. She was rude to his parents. Like I thought coming in like hands in the pockets, like very like taking a nap right after they get there. I understand that, but like his reaction to it was so
Yeah.
extreme. And yeah, I think he's weird now. I think this whole thing is weird. And I'm glad that they're not getting married because it like
Yep.
I was like really on his side. And then I was kind of actually like, wait, no, they're trying to use her for like some kind
Right.
of grieving, and that's really not fair.
Right. Yes. I had the same kind of journey with this. Like, I was so team Tim. And
Yeah.
now I'm like, whoa, okay. Actually, maybe everything was like kind of not what I thought it was. And often the people who are so kind of rehearsed and quote unquote perfect about things, which like he really kind of was with her dad, it's covering up some other sort of, like, inadequacy that they don't want you to see, and, like, he definitely, like, a switch just, like, flipped, and all of a sudden, she was the enemy,
Yep.
and he could not wait to break up with her and wash his hands of her,
Yeah.
and he was
When he
so mean, and Alex, I thought was I'm not a I haven't been, like, super impressed with her this season, but
No.
I did feel like she handled that conversation pretty well and was,
Yeah.
like, explained where she was coming from in a measured and non, like, confrontational way, and he was just, like he was basically telling her she's a bad person,
Yeah. Like, and
and
didn't let her
it was
talk or
terrible.
explain herself, and then he goes, "And I think you can agree I never wanna see you again." It's like, "What?" Like,
That was so
why did
mean.
why did this part so aggressively out of nowhere? Like, I just was
Right,
like, "Dude, did she fucking murder your dog? Like, what are we doing? Like, why are you so mad?"
right.
And I think it's like this disappointment that he's putting on her that like, "Oh, I was going to give my parents a daughter and now I'm not and she really let me down." It's like, that's not what this other person needs to be for you. Like, your wife has to
No.
be a totally different entity and like can make you happy and can be supportive of your family as they navigate grief, but like asking her to replace them is like very very scary.
Yeah, There was just a lot of toxicity going on. I mean, we already knew that about them, and, like, I already didn't want them to get married, but this was just
Yeah.
like, "Whoa, okay." And I was just, like, actually very relieved when he
Yeah.
left and it was
When it was
over.
done.
I was like, we don't need to see more of this playing out. It's not
No.
going well.
I'm kind of looking at the fight differently in Mexico, though, like, the way that she wasn't allowed to explain herself when they were breaking up, I was kind of
Right.
like, I actually maybe think he's making some false allegations against her, and she's not backing it up because he won't let her speak.
Right. I mean, this would be a great reunion question, Nick and
Yeah,
Vanessa. What
as if they
happened in
could.
Mexico?
Yeah,
In
what the
their
fuck
own
happened in
words,
Mexico?
tell us what happened. You don't have to show us the footage, but tell us what happened
Yeah, please
because
don't show us 40 minutes of footage, but, like, just tell us.
yeah, I mean, I think Tim was like seeing him in this interaction. I'm like, okay, I think we got a peek into what that interaction was.
Yeah.
And he was definitely not this, like, calm, cool, and collected dude that he
Mm-mm.
wants us all to believe. Like,
No, not at
Patrick
all.
said, he was like, "See, there's, like, some darkness going on there," and I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, here it is, laid bare for all of us to see." You know, whatever transpired between you 2, you have told each other you love each other, you have agreed to marry each other, there's, like you should have some sort of feeling for the other person, like, I
Just
can at least give that to
respect.
Nick and Hannah, who,
Mhm.
like, when they parted ways in this episode, at least they told each other they loved each other and gave each other a
Yeah.
hug. You
They
know?
wish each other the be like, I think that as nasty as that conversation got, and I
Yeah,
have different thoughts than a lot of the internet on this. I feel like they still had respect for each other. Like, there was still
they
this,
did.
like, it's not working for X, Y, and Z thing, but I think we'll be best friends. And I do actually think that they will be best friends. Like, I think that
Yeah.
they are so much better off as friends that for Tim and Alex, I think they could have been friends too. So this just like, and I hope I never see you again. It's like you're on a
Oh
TV
my
show together,
god.
dude.
I know, and the part where the cuddling thing,
He
it's like,
won't be
"Bro, you're
affectionate
just
at
telling
all.
her now you don't like to touch people or
Yeah.
be touched?" Like, this is a deep part of intimacy. Like,
Yeah,
what the
you and
fuck?
Ramses both have intimacy issues and you need to
Yeah,
find some
on
way to like meet
opposite.
in the middle. Yeah. You can't be touched constantly, but you can't be touched never. Like you got to kind of
Right.
like, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so let's talk about Nick and Hannah. First of all, tell me what the internet has been saying.
The internet's like, Hannah's a bully. Nick is like so innocent. How could she do that to him? Blah, blah.
Okay.
Weaponized incompetence is a form of manipulation. And I don't care that like people are like, oh, and someone had a good point where it's like, this is why someone from a coddle family and someone from a cutoff family can't marry each other because they're never going to understand
Right.
either way.
Yeah.
Nick is not blameless in this breakup. Could Hannah have been kinder in her delivery? Yes, of course. Yes,
Yes.
obviously. Understatement of the century that Hannah could have been kinder in her delivery. Pulling out a
Yes.
notepad and reading off all the things you hate about your fiance before breaking up with him. That's not very
Rough.
nice. Having a
Yeah.
full fight in front of your bitchy friends, that's not very nice either.
Yeah.
It is unacceptable that Nick, as a 20-year-old man, thinks that he deserves equal credit to Hannah for being in charge of his life when he doesn't pay bills, he doesn't manage
Right.
his own finances, he doesn't know how to cook, he doesn't know how to clean, and he wants her to see him as an equal partner in the relationship. And you're just not. And you're not even really trying to be because you just want credit for wanting to be.
Right.
And
Right.
if I was her, I also would have lost my fucking mind if I was living with
Right.
somebody who was just like, "Well, I'm just a baby. I can't do that." Like, grow up. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what people on the internet are like coddling him. And I'm like, "No, he deserves this feedback." But like,
Yes. He needs the feedback.
yeah, he pretends he's like Mr. Rico Suave, so good in bed, and he doesn't go down on women. And I just like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
just a disconnect with that. Should she have said it at a party? No, obviously not. But
I
again,
mean,
like
she was mean, so
yeah.
that makes it tough. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, in this final conversation, it's like, Nick, you don't do much. You
No.
like the conversation about the cat, I was I was cringing so hard. I just like she's like, "Do you take care of your cat?" And he's like, "Do you feed your cat
Yeah.
in the morning?" "No, my dad does." Like,
Right.
You
And
don't
then he
even.
goes,
He's like, cats are easy, and it's like you don't even do everything for your cat.
"You're
So
also
like,
proving her point. Like,
yeah, it
cats
was
are
like
easy."
I know.
Y
I was just like, "Oh, Nick, come on." Like, you can't even see that, like, the little that you do is actually so little. Like, he was
Yeah.
almost qualifying it then, and it was like, "Nick, and I
It's
mean,
so little. Like, he doesn't do anything.
no, and it's not that he can't, it's just
Yeah.
that whatever, and I do want to believe that, like, he could get there, but, like, Hannah's way of being that mean to him is, like, totally a cut-off person
Yeah.
versus a coddle person, like,
Yeah.
so then her friend, what's her name?
Her best friend in the world that she just met in the pods,
Oh my
Katie.
god, what that was
You
she was
you're
so
right.
upset about her friend, and, like, Nick was right when he was like, "You're just mad about your friend, you're not mad at me, you're mad at
Yeah.
your friend."
I didn't do
And,
anything.
like,
Also, why is that
Katie
your
was her
best friend
name
in the world?
Katie?
Yeah, Katie.
Yeah,
Katie, my best friend in
Katie.
the world, and my fiancé talking? My
Yeah,
best friend in the whole
Katie,
world?
not that's not best friend vibes. Like,
No.
telling your best friend that you think her fiancé is hot when they had a connection in the pods, like,
And
whoa,
repeating it
girl.
and telling
Oh
him?
my g repeating it, and then the conversation they had was if Hannah watching that conversation probably feels very validated.
Oh, her
In
intuition was spot on. Something bad happened there. Like, that was not
Yeah,
good.
and I mean, Katie was serving Nick
Mhm.
all the coddling encouragement that he needs. Like,
Mhm.
I think Katie could actually work with Nick to get him to a point where he was actually a contributing member of the
Yeah,
household.
yeah.
Because she was so good at, like, complimenting him while telling him that he, like, has potential and, like, can get there, and he's not quite there yet, but, like, "I can see it in you, and you're such a good
Yeah.
person," and, like, he was eating that shit up, and it was like, I wanna see those 2 together.
Yeah. And maybe they will be. Like, I
Maybe.
just am like, yeah, and Nick's like, "You want me to change my whole personality?" It's like, it actually is kind of reasonable that your fiancé ask that you not openly flirt with other women and clean up after yourself. I just feel like
Right.
if that's your whole personality, hun, then you're fucked. Like, you need a better
Yeah,
personality than if those are the only 2 things you can offer. And
totally.
yeah, I'm glad that they're not getting married. It just was, like, doomed. She doesn't like him, she wasn't attracted to him anymore because he was so, like, not
Right.
capable of being a full man in the way that she needed. So, another one out the door, and thank goodness.
Yeah, and I was glad that they kind of worked that out again before walking down the aisle, and I do think that that's gonna happen with Marissa and Ramses.
Yeah,
So
I
then
hope so
we're
too.
left with Taylor and
Ash
Garrett,
yeah.
Ashley and Tyler.
Mhm.
Oh my god. And is that it? Is there one
That's
more?
it. No, that's it.
Wait, there's one more. I thought there were
Marissa's
6
and
couples.
Ramses.
Oh, wait, oh, and Monica and Steven,
Monica and Steven
yeah,
are
they're
already broken
already
up,
done.
so
So, let's talk about Ashley and Tyler
this man
because
is evil.
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 Literally saying, "I don't think the kids know what I look like."
Yeah.
Like, first of all, you don't think they know what you look like?
You're in pictures
Like,
with them all the time.
yeah, like, lie after lie after lie. He's so fucking smooth about it, it's so upsetting.
And when she says, "We're getting married," like, "We worked through this, like, we're getting married," the relief on his face that, like, "I've gotten away with it." I am, like, sick to my I feel like I'm watching, like, a horror movie in slow motion where it's, like,
Yeah.
she's like, we're watching her. If they are married, oh my god, like,
I think they might get married,
oh
Mary.
god, I am, like,
I think they might.
'cause the baby mama is speaking out more, basically being
Right,
like
okay, so what is she saying?
she's like, "I keep getting pulled into this, and I want nothing to do with this. I want him."
Right,
Basically, it sounds like to me, and this is all from TikTok, he did help these 2 women have a child,
right.
but then he kind of pushed one of the moms out, like, kind of, like, filed for custody so that she'd be out of the situation, and after a breakup, I guess. And then
Okay.
he became basically a full parent, and so now he owes $30,000 in in family court.
Okay.
And it doesn't seem like he was in a relationship with her, but it seems like they had agreed to raise these children together. And then at some point, he kind of just decided he wanted like a more traditional family structure and wants nothing to do with these 3 kids that he had previously. He's like, people are calling him like a hobosexual because he like was hopping around from girlfriends' apartments. He had his car repossessed. Like, he's not doing well. And now has like hitched his wagon to a very financially secure woman again.
It's kind of like giving psychopath
It's
energy, like serial
100% giving
killer
psychopath.
energy.
What can't he
Like
lie
being
about?
able to lie so easily,
Yeah.
like it's not a problem. Like that is like I listen to a lot of true crime
Yeah. Yeah.
podcasts.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me of those people who are like, you hear these stories about these people who just like they just lie and they
They
have
just
no remorse. They have no, but it's just like their MO and it's how they do stuff and they get away with things and then they just move on to the next thing. And it's like there are people's fucking lives involved. There are kids involved here. Like those
3
kids are going to be
children.
so fucked up from this.
And like the way that he's talking to Ashley about their marriage and how quickly he wants to have kids, she could be pregnant. Like that's how quickly they wanted to move on it. And I'm
I
sure how quickly he
know.
wanted things to move is a factor in case I get caught, then we'll have a child together and like we have to figure it out. So I'm
Oh
very
my
disappointed in
God.
Netflix. I am really
And
worried for
Ashley's
Ashley.
not on like, she has an Instagram account, but I haven't looked recently, but there was nothing on it.
I don't think you
Like
can tag her because we got a message that like we had tagged someone else and they were like, wrong Ashley. We were like, whoops.
right, that was my bad, and then she
Oh,
was like, "Oh, it happens all the time. Here's her real account." And then I clicked on it, and it was, like, basically a blank account. Like, there's nothing on it. It was like, this is a reunion situation that I really need to know what's going on
and
because
I'm really bummed that it's Nick and Vanessa hosting it when this
oh
is all
my
that's going
god.
on.
They need to have, like, an actual mental health professional there
Yeah, like
to, like
this is gonna be bad for a lot of people. Like they're
for
it's not
for
even messy
everyone.
in like a super fun way right now. Like it is like very high stakes messy and it's
Yes.
kind of hard
There are
to
some, like,
watch.
deep issues that need to be discussed and, like, treated with care, and do I have an ounce of, hope that Nick and Vanessa can handle that? Like, no, not even
N-
close. Negative.
Nick's gonna be like, lying about your kids is really messed up, man. I just couldn't let that slide. And then Vanessa's gonna be like, good job, baby. Good job, baby.
She's gonna be like, "Yeah, baby, yeah."
He's so
Um,
brave, baby.
okay. Garrett and Taylor was just drunk at that party. Like, she was drunk before the party.
Yeah.
Like, Garrett, you're stupid. You were probably just trying to not hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
Like,
But Garrett,
this was
always
the
tell your
dumbest
girl
fight
the full
ever.
truth. Like this was not like this did not need to be a thing. This is just men thinking they can get away with information. It's like just tell her the whole truth. Whatever she comes up with
Right.
in her brain is going to be worse. Like
Yes.
just tell her that you fully wrote this woman off. It's actually better that you sent her a message and we're just like, "Hey,
Yes. That you were
I'm
like,
engaged.
I don't
This
want to be
is
in touch anymore.
yeah.
Like,
That's better than I just liked it." So it's like he actually did something better. He just was such an idiot about it.
yes.
Like
And then he totally owned up to it and
oh,
apologized immediately, and we were
no,
all
they're
like,
like
"Garrett, you the best."
they're perfect together. Their calligraphy class was so cute. It went great
Oh,
meeting her parents. Like
yeah.
it couldn't be better for the two of them. And I'm really excited for them to get married. And I really hope that they get married.
I really started getting I started crying when Taylor like, I usually hate the dress part. I find it so
No, the dress
boring,
part
and
with
I
her
thought
was
this
so
was
good.
but when Taylor put on the second dress and her
Yep.
mom when they had that little moment and Taylor said what I always want them to say, and of course she said it because I just love her.
Yeah.
She was just like, "The dress is great, but really what's so important to me right now is that you're here with me doing this." And,
Yeah.
like, that is what it is. Like, it's about those real connections that you have with your family and those moments, like, in these processes of ceremony and pomp and circumstance and all the rest. Like, those are the things that matter, and it was just nice
Yeah.
of her to, like, actually call that out and be like,
And
"This is
say
what's
it.
important to me in this moment."
Yeah, because that was like the most special part of it, was that like my mom and
Right.
my sisters and my mother-in-law were there, and like everyone loved it. And there is something that happens with clothing where like if you look really good in something, you feel good, and it just gets like passed around,
Yeah.
and wedding dresses are like so well constructed, and I feel like women's clothes are
Yep.
so flimsy now that it's like, oh my God, I'm in something with a lining, I look great.
I look great.
So
Well,
it
and
is kind of this
also,
nice
like, this
moment.
this is not a normal fitting because it's a week before their wedding, so they actually, like, had dresses that needed very little tailoring, if
Yeah.
any, to
Yeah.
fit these women. Like, I'm sure they
Yeah.
did some pre-stuff before these things to make
There
sure.
there had to be, and
Yeah.
as always, like, there's some of them are just too bedazzled, and I just, like, that's just so not my vibe. So I loved Taylor picking
Right.
something like her mom
So
saying, like,
understated.
understated, but with, like, little touches, and it's like, yes, that's what it should be.
Super
I mean, do whatever
elegant,
you want, but,
like
like, yeah, that's how I feel.
no, she looked great.
She looked great.
I liked her dress too, and
Me
I'm usually
too.
like, blah, I hate wedding
Mhm.
dresses. So, yeah, I guess that's like they're gonna get married.
They have to.
Ashley and Tyler might get married.
Ugh.
If Marissa and Ramses make it to the altar, I'll be very surprised.
I'll be surprised and
Um,
worried.
I'm actually really interested in this reunion.
Me
I wanna
too.
know
Me
I,
too.
like, have genuine questions about where all of these people are at minus Garrett and Taylor because I know they're just happy.
Yeah. This needs to be like a two-parter, I think, but they're only gonna do one-parter.
Yeah.
I don't need to see any of the old couples. Don't bring them, like,
No.
don't bring them all out, whatever, like, just get it done. Just
Get to the
have
good
us talk to the
stuff,
current.
ask
Yeah.
the real questions, like, maybe have someone else host it.
Godspeed, I wish. Yeah.
All right, I gotta go pick up my
Yeah.
kids soon, but yeah, so Mary's going on a trip in a couple weeks, so
Yeah.
we'll keep you updated on the schedule, but basically we're still doing Mondays until Joan's up.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard like I've been seeing the stuff about Love Island Australia, but no word on like how it's gonna play out for us here in the US.
Mhm.
So we'll see. We'll keep you updated on that. The meme game is strong on Instagram, so
Yeah,
make
come
sure
follow
you're
us
over
there.
there. And give us some reviews on Apple Podcasts that are nicer than the person who said I say like too much.
Yes, please.
Sorry.
Nah, don't be sorry. We'll take it.
And that's it.
That's
So
it.
thank you all for listening.
Yay.
We love
Cheers,
you.
lovebirds.
Cheers, lovebirds.
Thanks for listening to Can I Steal You for a Minute? Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and if you like the show, please leave a rating and review. Follow us on social media at Can I Steal You for a Minute Pod, and support the show through Patreon at patreon.com/Can I Steal You for a Minute.